after getting hit hard in the chest on Sunday. He has multiple fractured ribs and a collapsed lung. He's going to miss some time. Best case scenario, 2 to 3 weeks. But get this, Sean Payton said yesterday he's waiting to name a Week 11 starter. Brees posting this pic on the gram with his kids. The best medical team around. Said he'll be back in no time. Brian Westbrook joining us. Brian, can the Saints still make the playoffs if Brees is out for an extended period of time?
Absolutely, Jenna. They absolutely can still make the playoffs, and they've set themselves up in a good situation to make the playoffs because of their record at this point. But when you look at their schedule, they only have one team left on their schedule that has a winning record. And over the next quarter of football, the next 4 games, those teams that they play, the Falcons, the Broncos, and the Eagles, have a combined win rate of 12 games. Combined wins. That's not very good. So that gives Jameis some time to be able to ramp himself up and get ready to play those games in the latter part of the season. But here's the other part. Last season, when Teddy Bridgewater came in, that gives that football team understanding of how to win without Drew Brees. That means the defense needs to step up. The special teams need to step up. And offensively, you got to play a little bit differently. Last year, they averaged 25 rushes per game. When Teddy became the quarterback, they averaged 28. So they pumped up their rushing stats a little bit more. That shows you their willingness to change things. But to me, it all comes down to Sean Payton, the Hall of Fame head coach. Is he the guy that we think he is? He's the guy, in my mind, that has been grooming Jameis Winston from day one. He understood that Jameis probably would have to be forced to play because Drew Brees at 41 missed games last year. He was probably going to miss games this year. So that grooming process was simple. It starts in the film room. Jameis, you don't have to put the team in peril by throwing the ball to the other team. You don't have to win every single play by your arm. He does it in practice, grooming his thought process, situational downs. Jameis, this is a situation where you need to get the ball out of your hands quickly. We can't afford for you to hold the ball and then run around and make poor decisions down the field. Most importantly for Sean Payton is going to come down to his gameplay, his game time play calling. And now, to me, it's pretty simple. You don't put Jameis in a lot of situations where you are doing 7-step drops. That's where he gets in a lot of trouble holding the football, trying to force the ball down the field. Do the same thing that you did with Drew Brees. 3-step drops, get the ball out quickly. And if you can do that, now you can allow the players around Jameis, Mike Thomas, Alvin Kamara, to help you win the football game instead of Jameis feeling like he has to win the game solely with his arm.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with you, B. Coach Payton is one of the best that do it. And I was in a similar offense in Chicago when we had Coach Mark Trestman. Coach Mark Trestman used some of these schemes and also some of the route combinations that we use. It came from Coach Payton, his time where he would go and study with Coach Payton and be there in a camp or two. So when you look at Jameis and how this offense is set up, if you can read coverage, you should be efficient, because all it is cover 3, ball goes here, and you got to get the ball out as quick as possible. You have Coach Payton, and like you said, Hall of Fame coach. He can get it done. And then on the other side of the ball, Dennis Allen, if you look at the last couple years, their defense trends in the right direction second half of the year. These guys are really good. It's a complex defense. These dudes really thrive on matchups and really putting their guys in position. This defense can change week in and week out. So look out for this defense to continue to thrive, which means it's going to help out Jameis, it's going to help out Coach Payton, and they'll be able to right this shit for the next couple weeks. But Drew Brees, I got to go back to this, Nick. This is a brutal injury. You know, I sustained this exact same injury back in 2014. I slept in a chair for almost 3 weeks. So this is brutal. Hopefully this guy can get back. And they said, 2 to 3 is being optimistic. It's going to take some time. That was a tube in the side of my chest. Okay. They literally cut me open, and they didn't put me to sleep. And they shoved this tube just to open up my lungs. So this is brutal right here.
Got it. It's
I don't
terrible.
know why Jenna and Wilds get so squeamish. You're just describing something. He's not showing it to you. He's not showing you pictures. He's not like, oh, and hey, here's my chest cavity open up. He's just describing it. All right. Listen, I just want Brian and Brandon to be prepared, because they're about to get a lot of angry tweets, emails, potentially telegrams from Who Dat Nation because you guys have just anointed Jameis Winston the starter when Taysom Hill is sitting right there. Sitting right there next to you, waiting, what about me? And Sean Payton hasn't announced the starter. So I want to read you a quote from Sean Payton. The quote is the following: "We'll coach this game with 2 quarterbacks. Then we'll see where we're at with the right plan relative to what those guys are going to be doing." That was Sean Payton 14 months ago when Drew Brees got hurt last year. And he tried to do the whole, we don't know, is it Teddy or Taysom? And by the time Drew Brees came back, Teddy had thrown 165 passes, and Taysom had thrown 1 pass. Because Taysom Hill is not a quarterback. He's a fun player, nice gadget guy, good story. Brady Papinga called Lamar Jackson a poor man's Taysom Hill. That takes aging great Brady, by the way. But he's not a quarterback. Wilds, the answer, though, is they should give Drew Brees till Christmas. Give him off till Christmas. Give him 5 weeks off. If you go 3-2 in those 5 weeks, if you think Drew can beat the Vikings and the Panthers when he comes back, you're still going to win the division. Because 12-4 wins the division unless Tampa goes undefeated. So I would give Drew extra time off to make sure he's fully healthy for the playoff run, Wilds.
Hey, Brian, how much risk it and biscuit do we want to see out of the Saints offense? Dusty just came in. He drove up. Thank you, Dusty. He just gave me some brand new stats hot off the Dusty presses. I'm going to read them to you. Air yards. Number 1, Jameis Winston, averaging 10.5 air yards. And then since we had to cut it off somewhere, we cut it off at 37 quarterbacks. Drew Brees was 36 out of 37 qualifying quarterbacks. His air yards was 6.5. So when you talk about like bumping up the run, what they did with Teddy Bridgewater, you got the Falcons. The Falcons are going to put some points on the board. Do you think there's a chance that Sean Payton is a little bit too conservative? And for me, agent of chaos, I want to see Jameis out there with his brand new LASIK eyes throwing the ball around the field.
Yeah, I want to see Jameis out there with his LASIK eyes as well. This is a great opportunity for him as far as his future. But I think Sean Payton is going to be smart. He's going to play to his defense a little bit more. He's going to keep them off the field by running the ball just a bit on the offensive side of the things. But he's also going to say, Jameis, you don't have to win things with us. You don't have to be the sole guy the same way that you were doing out there in Tampa Bay. All we want you to do is control the offense and make good decisions. If you do that, we can win football games.
That's right.
Jameis also with a great pregame routine. Let us not forget.